I'm Vita Vasquez, owner and CEO of Vita Credit Queen LLC and My 800, also founder of Vamos por Todo nonprofit. You're watching the Todo Latino show on Todo Wafi.
All right, everybody, from 1500 live at Pro Audio LA, it's the Todo Latino show sponsored by Global Processing Systems, the official merchant of Revolucion 2024 and Todo Wafi. I am your host, Rafael. The team is short today. Yobi is here. Daisy's got it off.
Hey.
But we want to welcome our special guest. She's a friend of mine. She's CEO of Vita Credit Queen and My 800. We welcome Vita Vasquez. What's up?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hi.
How you like LA?
I love LA. I'm always over here at least 3 times a year for fun and for work, so it's always a pleasure.
Excellent.
So you Houston, right? Is it Houston?
Houston and Dallas, yep.
How you like it over there?
I love it. Dallas is catching up to Houston. You know, Houston's bigger, but Dallas is projected to be bigger than LA in a decade or so.
You think so?
There's a lot of things going on in Dallas.
Well, lots of Californians are moving out there, so I think within a 6-month period, like 100,000 or so.
Oof.
Yeah, I guess I don't know.
I went to Dallas. It was kind of dead for me. So I mean, like, what part of Dallas do you got to go? Because I was downtown.
In Dallas, I don't know. We just drink and fight a lot. I don't know. We're too drunk.
I like Fort Worth though. I was in Fort Worth.
Oh yeah, you liked it?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
It's a little bit of a smaller feel, but yeah, I like Fort Worth too. Yeah, lots of
I went to go look in some of those shops where you buy like the regular like authentic hats and all kinds of stuff. That stuff's expensive.
Yeah. The you mean the cowboy wear?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Western wear. Yeah, it's huge. It's a huge thing out there.
I'll just go to Target and see if they got knockoffs or something.
But then actually Dallas is a hub also for media and broadcasting.
Yeah.
There was a time in my career that I was looking upon those markets and Tennessee, Dallas, those kind of cities were really, if it was not LA, I would have been most likely in Dallas.
When I was there, it was dead.
Yeah.
Then again, to be honest with you, I don't even know if I was there during the time when it was like COVID or not, but I know it was dead.
Maybe so, yeah. Well, you're going to have to come back out and I'll show you around both of you guys.
Oh, no, I'm definitely interested. I heard Houston's got good food, though.
Oh, yeah. There's lots of like Cajun turkey legs and barbecue. So, yeah.
They do got good food because I was there. The barbecue was just banging.
Yeah,
the
brisket.
brisket.
Brisket. Yeah, it's like my stepdad is like a brisket connoisseur. Like the line on the meat, the smoking.
We're making us hungry here.
Yeah.
Not here. Yeah, we're not in LA.
Well, we'll definitely cater to you guys. Have a big fiesta and we'll
ya sabemos, la Dallas, entonces todo latino.
We gotta open up a restaurant here.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll make mad money. All right, let's get into you. Everybody has an origin story. Go for it. What's yours?
That's a very loaded question.
I know, right?
It's a long show, though, sweet.
Okay. Well, I grew up with both of my parents. My mom was the majority like a single mom. My dad was always in and out of prison. He was an immigrant from Mexico, in Tamaulipas, which is a border city, a border town. It's like the belly of the beast, right? There's lots of drug activity, human trafficking, things like that. So from an early age, he had to just survive. They didn't get to go to school or anything like that. It's not like here, free education and stuff. So when they came here, my grandma was by herself taking care of 6 kids and, the niños that están solos.
Yeah.
Sí.
Yeah, so, my dad just got into the wrong things and it just became a lifestyle for him. And so, unfortunately, I also, fell into that as well. And so, I didn't graduate high school. My mom took me out of high school when I was like in 10th grade so I could work full time and help pay bills. And, for me, I felt like I was proud of that. Like, okay, I get to help my mom more and make more money. But I also, miss now as an adult and I see
childhood.
My kids. I didn't get to go to prom and, dances and take SATs and stuff like that. But
I can see the prom. I don't know about the SAT. Like, you didn't miss out on much on that right there.
Just hanging out with your friends and stuff. But I was living on my own since I was like 15. So my dad came out of prison. I told my mom, I'm just not gonna live with him anymore. He's very abusive and very, a drug addict and alcoholic. But people change and things change. But I obviously just could not go through that anymore. So my mom said, well, good luck, and I hope you make it, and I did. So I may not have made the right choices, but I put myself through community college. I don't know why. I just wanted to go to college. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I went to El Central College, which is in downtown Dallas, and kind of still was doing that and other things, you know, illegal things, and which landed me in prison, federal prison. I got sentenced to 10 years, and it really changed my life. The day that they arrested me, it was like DA, helicopters, about 30.
So it was like a movie scene type,
yeah, it was really
arrest.
Yeah, it was really crazy. Yeah, everyone got arrested at the same time throughout the United States under that indictment. So yeah, it was me and my daughter there alone at the house, which it was a safe house. I didn't have any drugs or arms there, and so that was really a turning point for me. I mean, I wasn't surprised when they came to arrest me, but I was relieved, you know, because it's not something that you can just quit doing. So
so it was like a way to get out, so to speak?
Yeah, a way to get out, a way to do something else. Like you're forced into doing something different, like you're forced into it kind of. And so, you know, but seeing my daughter there, like on the lap of a DEA agent, she's a baby, you know, I said, wow, you know, like this is the lowest point in my life. And I vowed to like make that time in prison the worst time, so that when I come home, I really became a changed person.
You did put in the change at that moment.
Yeah, I already, seeing her there, and I was like the last time I ever got to like see her until, like, you know, obviously coming home. Because in federal prison, you get to, they have the right to transfer you anywhere. You don't have to keep you close to your family. So, you know, it's in Florida, Minnesota, Oklahoma, Texas, pretty much anywhere.
I have a question. So who took care of your daughter at the time? Because I know that you have 3 kids, but who took care of who supported you meanwhile you were in jail?
Yeah, her dad at the time was still here.
Oh, okay.
And so he was also in the same lifestyle, and then he was arrested, and then after that, she went to live with my brother, and then my brother was killed, and then that's when she finally went to live with my mother. But yeah, it was a really difficult, like all the things that I wanted for her to not happen, you have a stable life. Ended up happening to her in a way different manner, you know. So it's like no matter how to try to justify that, it's not really the way to go. And I see like especially in Mexican American culture, it's glorified, you know, but it pays the bills, you know. In lots of countries or lots of states and cities in Mexico, they're the ones that keep the water running and the electricity and fund schools. It's not the government, you know, unfortunately. So it's like a double-edged sword. It's like pick your poison, you know. It's just a way of life for a lot of us, unfortunately. Not all of us, but a lot of us.
Yeah. You at 10 years, like what did you have to, I guess for me, like I had family who has been there before. Everybody's different. What was the routine like for you in that time frame?
I was in a trouble a lot, so I was in solitary confinement a lot. I grew up very like rageful, which I've learned about over time. Like this is why you have this anger and this rage. So I think everyone deals with it differently. Well, I dealt with it with my fists, you know, and so
you a scrapper?
Yeah, I was a scrapper. That's why I love boxing. Like speaking of that, like with that fight yesterday. But yeah, my dad always taught me to be like a tough guy. Like he raised me to be like a guy, you know. And I have older brothers only. So, you know, if anybody messed with me, I'd just be like, but, you know, obviously women also are more emotional creatures. So in prison, all the women are fighting all the time, stabbing each other, killing each other, and beating each other up. So it's way worse, I think, than a male prison. But also women in prison have a lot more, like, there's lots of sexual assault with staff. There's nothing you can do about it. You know, it's a very volatile environment. So I just tried to make the best of it by working out a lot, reading. I read like all the 3 books, the Quran, the Torah, the Bible.
Help you, like spiritual.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, you know, we never went to church except when somebody died, and that was, you know, so.
a funeral.
For the funeral.
That's as far as it goes for your
spiritual. Yeah, I didn't grow up with church at all, and so when I got there, I'm like, what is, you know, I'd see women going to church. I'm like, oh wow, well, who cares about that? Like, you know, but.
I can tell you,
but I learned about it.
Or just even simple prayer, you know?
Yeah, just simple prayers. Yeah, they got me through it. And that's when I started learning more about myself. It's like a lot of the stories in the Bible are like I could relate to when I started reading them, you know. And so, yeah, I just try to make the best of it. I learned how to do construction in there. I learned how to do welding and all kinds of things.
So were those programs that they had in there for you all to learn, or was that just part of like, because I know prison systems, they be using
it's free labor.
They be using the inmates for free labor to try and get their stuff done. But
it's different things. You can sign up for different programs, but most of the time if they put you on a job detail like staff housing, you have to do like sheetrock, painting, you know, electric work. Those are all tools
trained.
that serve you. But, you know, so yeah, that's how I learned it. It's just from being on different job details. Landscaping, like we would do landscaping
really hands-on
on the Air Force field because the government got free labor from us.
So I know that because I used to work at a program called Hope for Ex-Offenders. It was for when people got out, you know, and they kind of got reconnected with the community.
Yeah.
What was that process like for you once you got out? Was there family around, or did you have to kind of figure that out on your own?
Yeah. Well, the halfway house I was released to was in Hutchins, Texas, which is outside of Dallas, but it's very far from Dallas. So there's a van that like takes you there. But I didn't really have a lot of support. One of my dad's sisters, who I wasn't really close to at the time, offered me to live there, but I'm very like, I have never lived with anyone since I was a teenager, so I was like, no. But I took her up on the offer because of my daughter, you know, and she was like, hey, you don't have to pay me anything, and I was like, it's so embarrassing for me. I don't know why we're like that. Why can't we just accept people's help? I don't know.
It's difficult.
I'm very much like that.
I'm
it
like
is
that.
difficult.
It's
hard to ask for
why
her.
are we like that? Why is it a Latino thing? I don't know.
It's hard for me to ask people for help.
It's hard, right? Yeah.
I think, well, to be honest with you, one of the reasons for that is because when I do ask help, the probability of getting it was kind of tough.
Yeah, exactly.
Or they weren't able to because they just didn't have the capability.
Oh, your back is against the wall kind of thing.
So it's just one of those things where it's like, I'm like, I'll just do it myself because it's almost impossible to get the help that I needed.
Yeah.
You know?
So well, she let me stay there, and it was the best thing. You know, I worked 2 jobs as soon as I came home, and whatever little money I could, I bought, like, my first paycheck was like $130, and I bought my daughter like socks and you know, stuff that she needed, like just. It was her birthday, and I couldn't afford anything else, so I got a bunch of balloons and put them in her room, and like, that's all I could do. But she remembers that to this day.
Aww.
So it was money well spent. You know, I was like, what can she do with balloons? I can't buy her anything else.
Mom's resourceful.
You can do that for me for my birthday.
Yeah,
so show up one day, just a bunch of balloons over there.
Yeah. But you know, honestly, there's not a lot of help, especially for women. There's very limited women in those federal halfway houses. And so you're just like left to your own. Like, there's no help with your finances, for jobs, for
no education,
assimilation back into culture after being gone so long. There was no smartphones when I went away, and so it was technology and social media was a huge. It was like, wow, you've been gone a long time. So.
Yeah, what was that like for you? Because I know that's one of the things we were talking off air. It's like when you went in, like all of these things weren't available. Were you like a beeper kid?
Yeah, no, I had like a BlackBerry.
Yeah, the BlackBerry.
BlackBerry. We were talking about that in another show.
Like, you finally came out, and there's like Apple phones with all kinds of stuff. Like, what was that
shock
for you?
It was crazy, you know.
It's like alien technology.
It was crazy. When I rode the bus from Waseca, Minnesota, and we stopped like in Iowa at a Greyhound, so I had to call my mom and say, hey, I'm this many hours away, if you can pick me up, and the payphone wasn't working, and so this guy was next to it. He's like, it doesn't work, do you want to use my phone? And I was like, yeah. And so when he gave it to me, I just started crying. I was like, he's like, what's wrong? I said, I don't know how to use this phone. He's like, where are you from? I was like, I don't know.
I guess the concept of Uber was really tough too.
It was.
She was trying to hail a cab.
It was a moment.
It was a moment that I woke up. I was like, holy shit, I've been gone a long fucking time. Yeah, like
what, 10 years?
So what was like? Because I know that the process of trying to find a job is really tough when you get there, because you have a record now. So getting position in a company, they do background checks and all that stuff.
Yeah.
How did you manage to earn the income once you got out of there?
Well, at first I was just working. My uncle owns a lot of clubs in Dallas, and so he gave me a job at one of his clubs, and then that was a huge issue with my parole officer. And then
because of the environment, I guess.
Yeah, and then so I was working like hostess at a waitressing at a restaurant, but it just wasn't enough money. And I got another job through a family member, and that was a little bit better. But it wasn't until I was left to my own devices after I had my 2 sons. Their father hospitalized me. He's very abusive.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was trying to get my own place, so I didn't have enough credit or whatever. I was like, what is that? And everything I would buy cash. I bought my first house cash a long time ago with drug money. But that's how I started doing this. I said, well, somebody used my credit. Like, what is that? And they're like, you have to have credit in order to get something. I was like, oh, wow. So I learned about it, but ever since I was little, desde que estaba chiquita, I'm like,
Puro cash.
if I don't know something, I'm going to learn about it. Nobody can tell me, like, no, I cannot do something.
Oh, you were very curious. Okay,
yeah,
you're going to figure it out.
Yeah, I'm going to figure it out. So that's how I started doing what I'm doing now, is I started getting the hang of it, and it became second nature. I feel like if you're a hustler, si eres trabajadora, luchadora, like you have that spirit, and there's really nothing that you can't do. So that's just how it's kind of started. It just snowballed. And I started, it started making me like emotional, like excited, like, wow, you know, I conquered this. And then I was helping other people just like me. And I'm like, wow, you know, how many other people are like me that need this? Like my mom, like I never, you know, seen my mom have a bank account growing up. Or a debit card. She would always just cash her check at the check cashing places, you know, and we just stayed from place to place to place to place, you know. So I never knew. It wasn't like something that I grew up with, seeing like, okay, mira, si vas a cuidar tu cuenta y tus tarjetas y tu dinero.
No. But that's what I was going to mention to you because, but again, with the Latino community, because the way that, you know, sometimes it's even generational.
Yeah.
That also we have that scarcity mentality or limitations on money that maybe we don't even deserve it. Yeah. Even though we work so hard, and I see how, you know, how you got motivated, but, you know, really what you took upon and said, okay, I'm going to do this and get involved with the community and teach them, because I know that you do some workshops also as well. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so I started a nonprofit called Vamos por Todo, which it just means like, hey, we're here and we're going to go for it all. Like whatever we can do to elevate and to grow as a community, whether you're from Puerto Rico, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, or Mexico, like we're all in the same boat, no pun intended.
But it's just a different stop. But
In the Cubans.
Yeah. So with that, it's like I don't only focus on Latinos. You know, anybody. I mean, I have clients that are like from Iran and India and stuff like that. But they all have the same similar thing. You know, they come here to make a better life. So just doing that to help people with maybe having a credit class for their kids, or all the kids at the boxing gym, or, you know, at the dentist office where all the ladies work, or the loncheras, you know, whatever. The construction guys doing more of that, having also like helping them with their resumes, anything to have them prepared for career readiness, even helping students and their parents understand, you know, school loans. Lots of my clients have so much student
financial
loan debt,
literacy.
They don't understand how much principal is involved. When are they going to finish paying off these loans? They have no clue. And the Department of Education or an Navient, you know, they don't really break it down to you. They just say, here's this money, and
you got to now pay this.
And you got to pay us till you're 65, you know. Yeah. So just all of those things. Whatever we can help the community with, that's what we're here for. And so the official launch for that is the last quarter of this year. Because I feel like, you know, everybody's in a giving mood, so they're going to give us, they're going to help.
It's like, it's Christmas.
It's Christmas, ayúdanos. Yeah, so just doing that. But I've done some at some high schools, or Irma Rangel. It's in Dallas. It's in South Dallas, which is an urban area. It's a high crime area. But all of the girls there have to have a certain GPA, but most of them come from very impoverished homes and single parent homes. But man, they're so bright. Those girls are like 4.0 GPAs. They're going to be doctors, lawyers, MIT. Yes. So Irma Rangel Young Leadership Academy prepares those young ladies for college. And a lot of them go to like Ivy League. They go to amazing colleges. They're so smart. And they just need the space to allow their brilliance to shine.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I have a question. So how did you get to the name? So, you know, you went through the Vita Credit Queen. Uh-huh. Do tell.
Vita, yeah. Well, I'm Vita. So one of my clients, right, I was just using my regular name. And so one of my clients, I helped him. He was like one of my biggest skeptics a long time ago. He's like, I don't believe you. Everybody rips me off. They say they're going to fix my credit and they don't do shit. And I'm sick of it. And I said, well, look, you don't have to pay me until I'm done. And if I don't do it, I'll pay you back twice what you pay me. You know, take it back to the streets, right? Yeah. He's like, okay, cool. Like, I stand on it. So I fixed it. He got his house. He got a construction loan, and he wanted to buy his wife a Range Rover. He's like, oh my God, is this right? You know, his credit score is like 790. I said, that's right. He was like, holy shit, you're the fucking credit queen.
Oh. Somebody tagged it.
So he sends me all these like emojis, like a corona, and then like.
La reina.
Yeah, la reina. So I just started saying like, and so every time he would text me, he's like, credit queen. And then all of his But that trust that I proved myself to him and helped him understand, but not make him feel, inferior. Because I hate it when people do that to me. They're like, how do you not know how to, credit card? I'm like, okay, I don't know. So I just related to him and taught him in a way that was relatable to him, and walked him through with Hispanic clients. And what I do, it's a lot of hand holding, but it's necessary.
You walk them through.
So a lot of people are like, oh my God, that's a dumb question. Or, look it up, but that's not what we need someone to tell us and to show us. And that's how I'm a visual learner.
Yeah.
And my dad didn't, work at JP Morgan Chase. He worked in the streets selling dope.
Yeah.
So I need
it's
to
a different version of that.
Yeah. And honestly, a lot of clients that are athletes and record execs, they don't know either.
Yeah.
So like one of the guys that was at the Dallas Cowboys, he was like, "What's a hard inquiry?" I'm like, I was like, well, I showed it, but I wasn't like, bro, you don't know,
Yeah.
I was like, hey, it's when someone actually pulls your credit to check your credit worthiness to see, hey, what do you have? Like they're checking your credit report, like your grades for school, college. He's like, oh, I got you. I was like, so if someone's gonna extend money to you or give you something, they need to check it first, and it's a hit on your credit, and then it stays there, or you can get it removed. He was like, oh, okay, I got it. I was like, so you don't want everyone checking it.
Exactly.
Keep it to a minimum, but make sure your stuff is right before they check it, so you're good.
So it's not like a worthless check,
right?
So to speak.
Yeah, because if it's a hard hit,
it can hinder you. Yeah,
but it's attached to an open account that you did get approved for. That looks good. But if you got like 30 hits from BMW, Mercedes, and everything, it's like, whoa, you're just playing for a bunch of stuff, and so it's a red flag. But yeah, so he kind of crowned me that. He's a really good guy, and honestly, he sent me so many people after that. After
the good word of mouth. Yeah,
because that's how our community is. Once we get in with one.
We do good. We do good.
Primo,
yeah.
Like, I'm gonna send you
jumping.
They're like, my primo Rafael said you helped.
Yeah. They all start jumping.
Es que ese es el poder de la
comunidad.
And
so all the guys and girls are like, hey, credit queen, my cousin told me you fix his credit.
Call you that? Do they come and call you that? Like, it's just like, oh,
yeah, they just say credit queen. I don't even have a name anymore.
Yeah, se le olvidó.
Yeah. Or some of them will be like, hey, queen, I have a question about this.
That's funny. That's
hey,
really
queen,
good.
Can I apply for my home now? I'm like, yeah, you can.
So what's the process for somebody who's coming, who's about to try to fix their credit? What is that process like with them, with you?
Yeah. Well, I have a team of 12 employees now. First, I was just like stressed out with all my iPhones and my laptop by myself. Yeah. So it's grown over time, and all of my staff is Latino. I have some from Costa Rica, Honduras, Nicaragua, and El Salvador, and of course Mexico. So we're all we're all bilingual, and we all have that same passion. That's why I was like, they're like me, right? You want people to reflect kind of the same feeling and message. So my team helps me out. I'm not in the bathroom fixing people's credit by myself. But when they first call, I always try to ask, like, what's your goal? What's your short-term and long-term goal? Most people are wanting to do this because they want a house, business loan, refinance, high interest auto loan, or honestly, they just don't have no credit.
Yeah.
So I asked, like, what is the need? And then I'm going to help you get there. So we pull their reports through Smart Credit, which is out here in Irvine. I have a meeting with them tomorrow. They're amazing. And I'm also on the Spanish advocacy group for them because I've been pushing for that whole site to be in Spanish.
Excellent.
Like Latinos,
buenísimo.
Yeah, like Latinos, we don't really check all these emails, right? But if we send a text message, it's like, hey, happy birthday. Check your credit score. Something. We respond more that way. So, so they're really adamant about that, and they're really passionate about putting out the message to us in the way we can receive it. So we pull the reports through Smart Credit, which is amazing, and it provides them an analysis. That I import that into my software, so it'll say, hey, Rafael, you have 6 charge-offs, 30 inquiries, 1 collection, and then I look at the report just to see what else, because your personal information could be wrong, like your addresses. There could be, especially with Latinos, if you're a junior, senior, the third, or there's another Alfonso.
I have that issue.
Yeah, so some of this stuff might be there, or it's just a data. The bureaus are just like a data depository. It can be mismatched anytime. And then I look like, hey, do you have enough credit? This is what you need to add on, subtract, pay down. And then after all this is done, you're going to increase and do this. And so I try to look at everything, right, so that they get the best outcome and make sure they understand it. And give them a list of homework. Because whether they work with us or not, just that homework alone helps a lot.
Nice.
And sometimes
for the information, so they can have at least an understanding as to what they're going through.
Right. I tell them, hey, you don't even have to work with me. Now there's softwares like, My 800 that It's just like ChatGPT or Jasper. It fixes your own credit and creates custom letters. Basically does what I do and me and my team do, but, you know.
No, some people need to see a face sometimes.
Right. Like my dad taught me how to change my oil, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to pay somebody. I don't
Certain
have
things,
Like, no way I say.
So I'm going to be ridiculed because I don't know how to change the oil.
Yeah,
I just take that shit to
I tell you,
you
you raised me like a man. I should have. God.
Like, you're going to have to get on the hood one day. You'll show me, and I'll be that guy who removes the thing and
I'm
the
gonna
oil
have my
falls.
cigar like this with my wife.
Well, no, you're not going to have a cigar while I'm sitting there changing the oil. No pa tanto. We're not going to blow up now.
Yeah. But
what's the normal time frame for somebody who's trying to go through that
whole process? Yeah. Well, to remove negative items, I mean, it can be as little as 1 month, but for most people, you need X amount. Most creditors and lenders need to see a history of you paying down your debt or you building your credit. So you start building your credit in January, and you can't get approved for stuff in March. That's only 3 months of credibility. So I tell clients, give it a good 180 days. If you just started building, or if you have all of this debt, don't pressure yourself. Right. You know, put a budget, but you got to stay consistent. Because before I would be really lenient with my clients. I'd be like, it's okay. No, you know. Now I'm like, if you don't do this, this is not going to work. Yeah. You got to do this part, you know. And they're like, okay. Because it's a partnership, you know. It's like, now we're in a relationship. In order to get the best outcome, we both have to do our part. And that's what's missing from a lot of people that do this. It's just very automated. Like, they just delete things and say, send an email. But no. And so that's how I feel I've had success in this, growing from like 5 clients to over 5,000. Wow. Which puts it almost like at that 7-figure range.
Like we talked about earlier, the emotional part about it and the culture, especially los Latinos, you know, you have, you know, some involvement. You want to see something and understand it.
Right. You know? Like people go and do business with people that they relate to and that they like, or because that product or person provides a certain experience. Like Apple, everybody buys Apple because it's Apple, right? You go to the store and it's shiny, no matter where you go. Most people keep that box even though you're never going to use it again. But you keep it. Why?
I know, right? We're guilty.
You value the product.
It gives you some sense of comfort, you know?
You value that product. It's such a superior product that you keep the freaking packaging.
Yeah.
And so that's how I try to feel like, or even like Chick-fil-A, it's like everyone's always so nice and they're just so, you know, sweet. My pleasure. It's like no matter where you go, you know. So I feel like that's because it's an emotional connection and you know you're going to get the same experience. So I tried hiring people before to help me onboard clients, but it's really hard because, you know, it just is. That's one of the biggest business hacks is trying to find the right team members. So I just created a system with the team so they can do this, so I can do more of this at the onboarding. Right. And then now trying to teach more Latinos that are in financial industry, like taxes or insurance or whatever, and help them do it the way I do it. Because, I mean, I'm just one Mexican, you know, like, necesito ayuda.
Yeah.
So, claro. You know, I'm working with a lady in Denver. She's amazing. She's from LA, actually, originally. So I'm helping her and her team to do it the way I do it.
She went to Denver.
It's beautiful out there. I love it.
Denver is gorgeous.
Oh my gosh. My daughter's like, Mommy, I could live here. And she hates everywhere we go. You know? She loves
Utah too. Utah and Denver, they're both beautiful places.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Utah, but I've been to Denver, yes.
Yeah, so now I'm more looking into like mentoring people to do it the right way, and if, you know, and let them be happy and marry and just help more people that need it.
I mean, happy in marriage. I don't know if that's
happy and merry. But you know, I'm just one person. Doesn't matter how good I am, how cheap I am. Some people just want to do business with somebody who's in Chicago because they're in Chicago.
Yeah.
Or because they're Puerto Rican, and that's okay, you know. But you know, so that's what I'm trying to do more of, and it's really not hard. It's just taking that time out. You can have any kind of software, any kind of this, but you just need to give them that insight and that knowledge to those little tweaks that they just don't know, and no one's teaching us in school. So
that takes experience and years too.
Yeah. What's the biggest misconception when it comes to like having credit repair?
Biggest misconception is that you don't owe the money. Like anyone can remove anything off of your credit report. You can, based off of the way it's reporting incorrectly or whatever, balances don't match, its information is outdated, but that doesn't mean that you still don't owe, you know, Bank of America or BMW Financial. You still owe it. So you just need to, you know, clean it up, build it up, work on it, and then pay it off, settle. You know, it doesn't matter if you pay $1 million and you owed $1, or you owe $1 million and you paid $1. you got to settle for something. Otherwise, now what I've seen lately, especially post-pandemic and within the last like 6 to 8 months, is creditors are now like freezing your bank account funds, suing you, taking out of your taxes. So it's just like, because, you know, a lot of these FDIC banks everybody's defaulting on them. Nobody's paying things, and so they're just taking it into their own hands now and doing other manners, which the debt laws differ from state to state, but that's what I've been seeing. Yeah.
So, I used to hear that like settling was the I guess the worst of the two to do. Why is that?
I don't know if that's the worst, but there's some things that, I mean, if the debt can be verified, like, why would you pay that? You can't owe two people for the same debt. So that's why it's always good to just talk to somebody, you know, whether it's me or, you know, a nonprofit or something like Vamos por Todo or whoever, you know, maybe one of your friends or family members really savvy. But it's always good to, or you can look up the laws yourself. It's just time consuming. So that's why I tell people, like, the information is there, right? That's how I got it. No one just spoon fed it to me, to my brain. The information is there. You just got to seek it. And there's so much different information on Instagram and
there is
TikTok.
I heard, and you can tell me if it's right or wrong.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to, like a collection agency is not allowed to sell that account to another one. And if they do, that's a wrap. Yeah,
so that's true. So you can definitely sue different collection agencies. They're not allowed to like harass you, call your mom. Once they call you, you need to say, I'm not going to verify my information over the phone. You can just be like, is this Rafael? Be like, I don't verify my information over the phone for anyone. So whoever you're looking for, you know, find them, but you need to cease and desist all calls to this number because it's stressful.
Yes.
I mean, I've been in that situation. I was with my kids. I'm like, God, they're always calling me and I start sweating like... But no, once I found out my consumer rights, I was like, if you call me one more fucking time, I'm going to report you to Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. They're like, never call me again.
She went back to the scrap.
Yeah, I went back to the good.
You call me one more time.
¿Sabes qué? Vas a ver, más te vale, yeah.
It's like, we got chanclas everywhere.
I got chanclas, yeah, for real. But yeah, so I told people, they're like, it's because they keep calling me and they said they're going to call my job and my mom. I was like, oh no, this is what you tell them. And they're like, oh my God, it stopped. Like, even that alone.
So what's the exact verbiage? Because you just kind of said something.
Yeah,
there's a language.
You have to say, cease and desist all calls to this number.
So if somebody calls me, it's like, I'm not going to verify. You need to cease and desist all calls to this number.
Yep. Or I will report you to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the Federal Trade Commission. All of those.
Interesting.
Yeah. Look up what to say to debt collectors when they harass you. Google, it will say the same thing. Yeah. And they have to stop.
I didn't know that. This is the first time I'm hearing of that.
Yeah. You're welcome. Stop all those calls. Because, I mean, it's stressful, you know, even though they don't know where you're at or you don't know who they are. I mean, it's just like mentally it's stressful. So that in itself. And then now I tell people, okay, now that they can't call you, because everything that's on your credit report is attached to your name and what else? Your address.
Your address, yeah.
Yes.
So they can send you a bill, which is what they're supposed to do. And then, you know, settling things, definitely state a hardship. Tell them, you know, you live with a family member, you don't have work right now, like whatever you can to get that debt down and send in a letter and they'll write you back. Lots of times they will. They say, hey, you owe us $3,800. Will you settle with us for $850? Yeah, settle.
See, that's what I was talking about. Yeah. So apparently doing that is less effective to your score as opposed to paying the entire debt.
No, it doesn't matter. Once you've defaulted, been late, the account's closed, it doesn't matter if you pay all of it or none of it or 1% of it. It's the damage is done. It's like once you cheat on your lady, like you cheated, bro.
I love it.
There's no coming back from that. So you cheated, ya está.
Yeah,
no.
That's funny.
Ya nunca te va a mirar igual, ¿verdad?
No, you're right.
Move on. Right. Close out the account, settle it, and move on to a relationship.
She said close out the account.
And start a new relationship with a new creditor.
That's funny.
We're not going to go back to our ex.
She's like, she's like, this relationship's over. It's never going to be the same.
Nunca va a estar igual.
It's already stuck in here for 7 years, and I'm not going to get back. I got to wait now before.
No matter how much you want, it's not going to be the same.
Yeah, that is hilarious.
I am so intrigued, Vita. You know, have you thought about sharing your story, having a book or creating a movie?
Yeah, you know, because I think people have said that before. But you know how Latinos are like, I don't want no quiero nadie que sabe mi business.
No, you will have such a lasting impact. Such a lasting impact.
There's so much more, you know, so much more. And that, like, the person that I am today, I can honestly say I really like myself. Growing up, I hated myself. I hated everything about myself, about where I came from, everything. That's probably why I was getting into fights all the time.
Yeah.
But now it's like, it's a journey, you know, it's a journey. And I never thought that I would be where I'm at now. But it's like, if I hadn't gone to prison, if I hadn't sold drugs, if I hadn't grown up this way, if I hadn't had the father I had, and where would I be? I probably wouldn't be here, you know? So it all serves a purpose. So shout out to my daddy and to my mom. You know, they were doing the best they could as immigrants, as also coming from trauma backgrounds, and you know,
they went through their own cycle.
Yeah, like my mom's dad was a World War II veteran. He was one of the like few Hispanic snipers in World War II. So he was very like detached as a parent. So my mom raised herself and her siblings, you know. So coming, what does she have left to give me, you know? So it's everyone has a story, but if you know, she hadn't raised me so tough.
Most afraid of?
Feisty.
Because when we were speaking to Ida, she wrote the book.
Yeah.
You know, Legitimate Kid. That was her biggest thing, is she wrote the book, and obviously she's telling a lot of her story. Her biggest, you know, her biggest thing was like family were the ones who were like, oh, why would you putting this stuff out there?
Yes, it's already it's already. I've already had a little bit of that, yeah. But you know what? I really don't care about my family. Family.
I mean, your truth is your truth.
Yeah,
it
my
doesn't
truth
matter
is my
whether they find it.
Yeah, and honestly, it takes a person to speak the truth, and then others. So I was also a victim of sexual abuse growing up, right? It's always your family. And so no one knew about it, and they're like, why are you detached like this? And I say, because, you know, you want to know, this is why. And so all the women in my family got together, and I said it, and once I said it, everyone's like, I cannot believe this. ¿Cómo no me dijiste? Y, ay, no, tengo coraje. And then my other cousin said, it happened to me too. It was my tío too. And then my aunt said, did you know what happened to your grandmother? And it's like every one of these women started seeing. I said, if it took me to be the sacrificial lamb, then
which is funny, because one of the biggest issues that we have on that particular topic is on the day that somebody says that, if they do say it early, then it can't be true.
It can't be true.
They don't believe you.
Why didn't you tell us before? And you were too little. How could you remember?
Yeah.
You know why? Because my fucking innocence was taken. That's why. And at that time, that's when I started hating everyone. You know. So I said, you know what? If you guys don't like it, like that's your brother or your dad or whoever, then that's fine. But this is why I'm different with my children. You know, like my mom said, if my kids say something, somebody did something to them, whether it's my mom or my husband, like I'm gonna believe my child, and we're gonna get healed from it. You know, I'm gonna
figure out, get to the bottom.
I don't want to know about it. And go, no es posible. You know, like no,
it's just possible.
Instead of brushing things under the rug.
And when I talked about it, also other men were like, wow, you know, I was also a victim of domestic violence. Like my wife beat me up in front of my kids. Like I just couldn't hit her back. Like, you know, or I was also molested and raped by my, you know, stepdad or my cousin. I'm like, whoa, bro, you know. So I think there's a lot of healing within our community, but you know,
it's got to be open. You
guys
want to talk about it.
It is what it is, and so when I started talking about my life, I found it was more helpful to other people than even to me, you know, and so that really like changed something. But I do want to do that maybe one day when I'm retired in Mexico
Todo Media
with my kids and husband. Yeah,
you trying to say we make the movie?
Yes.
Yeah, you can.
We make films.
Todo
Media films.
Who's playing leading role? Who's playing Vita?
Oh my God, I don't know. That'd be good, right? Who's maybe like Becky G. Becky G is pretty cool.
You think Becky G will fit that role?
Why not? Oh, she can.
Sure.
Acting is diverse, you know. You got to dig deep. She's gonna be like, "This is fucking dark. I quit."
She's gonna be like, I read the script. It didn't look this deep. It didn't look this deep.
Yeah. Who knows? Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
Upcoming person, but yeah, I've always thought about that. You know, putting it out there because maybe it can help someone. You know that.
I think so.
That needs it.
I think it does. I think you know, again, and it's not, you know, we're not trying to plug it, but it's just even myself. I don't ever read books.
Yeah.
I read her book, and it was like for the first time.
Wow.
I read it the same night before the interview, and so. First time I read a full book aside from the Iliad, and I connected so well with that book.
Really?
Yeah,
that's
because
awesome.
there was just so many things in that book
that are true
that I had gone through, or that I have seen, or that I have related to, and so I think like what she's stating is that you telling your story will eventually somebody's going to read it and go, oh, I went through the exact same thing, and there's kind of healing in that.
Yeah, there is healing in that. Yeah,
in that process.
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
So maybe not for your family who's going to be like, oh, and you're going to, but
I never really cared about that.
For everybody else.
But breaking those generational cycles and curses is big.
Yeah, and I've always been really transparent with my daughter, because I had to earn her trust when I came home. But, I tell her I don't know everything, but, one thing I am going to do is I'm always going to try to do better. And it's my fault. All of these things are my fault, but just watch and learn from my mistakes, and trust me, I'm going to make you proud. But I'm always very transparent with her, the way I grew up, the mistakes that I've made, what I've gone through also. And she's just, I think being honest with her, I told her, in this family, we talk about things.
Yeah.
If I'm a mom, but I don't know everything. I said, so I want to spend enough time with you. If I'm talking to you a certain way and it's offending you, like, let me know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm still the queen of this house, but
you
that
check
doesn't
yourself.
mean that you can, correct me.
Yeah.
Like, because at first when I came home, I was like, very strict the way I grew up. Like, limpia tu cuarto, mira, yo. And she'd be like, Mom, your tone it makes me nervous. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, baby. So now I'd be like, Mommy, can you clean your room up? Good job, like positive things. But it took her to tell me, and then it took me to let it be available for her, give her that openness to correct me and talk to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's what's really changed our relationship, is just giving her that space to say, hey, what's on your mind? Like, in this house, you have a voice, baby girl. Like, aquí me puede reclamar, corregir, or whatever,
Nice.
Soy tu mamá, pero no tengo.
I got limits on that.
Hey.
I don't know. You're like, hey, I got the
Bars.
chancla too.
No, we throwing down. We go. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, for sure. But
She's like, yup.
yeah, for sure.
She's like, there's moments.
No,
there's
yeah,
moments.
because with parenting, it's like I don't believe in soft parenting, obviously, but having that as well.
It's a different time.
Because when we're growing up, it's like you can't say nothing, you can't challenge anything, even if it's wrong. It's like, cállate, no sabes, tú qué sabes,
Yeah.
Okay, kids are smart, and sometimes we can actually learn. They make us better.
They are.
If we allow them.
That's a good line.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm curious, even though you mentioned it already a while ago about technology, fintech, these apps available, what are your thoughts? Because then we talk about, again, some people need to be walked through the process. They have an app in front of them that is going to tell them about their finance or even credit. But then, the levels on understanding, where do you see, going for where you are being exposed to right now, to where we're heading, where you mentioned AI. What are your thoughts, with the Latino community on that?
I think you have to be open to both, because there are younger generation who are very like DIY. They want to do everything themselves. But then you also have older people like myself, like people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s that are still trying to get a house and things like that or whatever. And they're just not going to be receptive to it the way you want them to. So you have to, you have to be able to relate to all of them. Yeah. Everyone has different needs, and that's just the way it is. Like, every student doesn't learn the same in school.
How they receive the information,
Yeah, that's why a lot of students fail, Growing up, I think I would have done better in a more strict environment than in the schools where I went to in the hood in Dallas. Like, teachers didn't give a fuck. They'd be like, but I need someone to just be like military style, like I would have thrived in
structure.
That. Mm-hmm.
Because even sometimes you can have an app, but then somewhere along the way, because of the experience that you have, is the understanding.
Yeah.
Because I have this information in my hand, maybe a Gen Z or Gen Millennial, but further on in understanding the whole scope of what your credit is going to involve, that report. It takes, also for somebody, like you said, much older to understand what's going on, what's happening, what they're reading, what is, even as much as you can Google, as many times that you can YouTube. YouTube University.
That's true. And, I think Latinos are projected to be like the majority very soon, and so I think a lot of creditors and lenders need to really wake up and understand the power that we're going to have.
Oh, we got major GDP power.
Yeah, we do, yeah. And I think being on the financial map and being more savvy to it is really going to give us a lot of leverage. I think most of us get what we get, and we're just happy that we can get a house. But a lot of us don't know what the interest is. What about if our kids inherit that house? Are they going to have to pay inheritance tax? Is it like, what do they do? So these are the things that we need to work on now. But, no matter what technology comes in and there's animation, you always still, I think more Latinos is just in our nature because we're passionate, we're emotional. You know, we're always going to want that conversation, that initial conversation to be like, hey, Rafael, you know, this is how you're going to do this credit card or this, that, and this is your loan. You got questions on it. And I just be like, you got approved for $5 million, 0 interest. We're going to be like, what? That's too good to be true. Like, why?
Yeah.
Why? You know, like we're always going to need that. I think it's always important for us to just have, a lot of people, you know, want to FaceTime or Zoom. Even if they're in Cali or Chicago, they're like, I don't know, you don't sound like that on Instagram. I need to see you. I'm like, okay.
I know, when it comes to money matters, I want to see you in person.
Yeah, and then others don't even know how to verify a link they get in their email. They're like, a ver si me puedes ayudar. You know, they'll give me the password to the email. I'm like, you need to change it now. And they're like, oh, okay. You know, like, it's just, it is what it is. Some of them need you to set up their little credit building accounts. But the fact that they're talking to you in the first place shows they want to do something different.
That's the process.
And I tell them, I'm like, you know, I'm not a bank, I'm not your lender, I'm just a person that's helping you get to that point. But you got to make it a point. Like if I'm talking to my mom or to my tío, I'm like, tío, you got to make it a point. Like, look at your statement. You know, look at the email that I sent you. Si tienes preguntas,
exactly.
Dime, por favor. You know, I tell them, don't be shy. Too many questions is never too many questions.
Exactly.
Pero sometimes we don't want to ask because we're like,
te da
como
pena.
jodes. Yeah. You know?
It's like, coño.
No,
So you were talking about the people who kind of like to do it themselves. So that's where My 100 Credit.
Yeah.
That's the app. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So My 800 is basically an AI software that does what I do on steroids. It's very effective. It creates a custom letter. For everything that's on your credit report, you have to send a letter out and say why, whether it's handwritten or it's something you downloaded off of TikTok. And you have to attach your documents, ID, social, and a bill. And then they will look at it and say, okay, this is actually right, and we're going to take it off. So that AI software just does it more effectively, efficiently, correctly, with the correct verbiage, and it changes it up every single month. Because sometimes that dispute letter will be like, no, the verbiage isn't right. Because it just literally, it's an Oscar machine. It just reads it, and it will reject it. So it creates different letters based on all of the criteria, all of the laws and everything, which is amazing. Like, you can tell ChatGPT to do anything for you. Write an essay on Abraham Lincoln as if I were a 5th grader, and I want to get a C. It's gonna do it. So
wow, she has the prompt
because
already.
if I get an A, my mom's gonna be like, "This ain't you.
This ain't you. You didn't write this.
Make it believable."
The word hyperbole's in there. I know you didn't learn that.
But this software is so amazing because it's gonna get you those results, and it's for people that not only are DIY, but some people just don't have a lot of money to spend on credit repair, whether it's $100 a month, or like they have money to save on their down payment for their house, but their month to month doesn't look like that, you know. So for them, $30 a month is going to get them to a $640 or whatever to get a house. Then go do that instead of spending paying me and my team $100 a month or $200 a month. Do that. You're going to get the same results, if not maybe even faster or better.
And what is that? What is the price? It is like around $30.
Yeah, so it's essentially like free. All you're doing is signing up for the Smart Credit link to be able to pull those reports every month into the My 800. It's going to scan everything and say, hey, you have 80 errors. Print out the letters, mail them out, and then you just keep doing that. So you'll see.
So they have to follow up. I was like, okay.
Yeah, you don't have to call and follow up. I would, but you just send out your letters. Yeah, I mean, a stamp is what? I don't know, 45 cents or something.
Something like that. And the last time I
checked. So let's say you have...
is...
I'm like, forever stamps.
Yeah. But even that's still cheaper. It's still, under $50 to fix the
I remember
credit.
a book of stamps was like $5.
It was like 5 or 10, yeah.
Now it's like 12, 15 bucks.
Probably, yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, so, sometimes they don't need to get everything cleaned up, but they just need to get to that point so their lease is up, their rent's going up, and they can't afford it, but they can get into a rental house for $2,600 a month, but they can't afford the $3,500 that the landlord's going to. So it serves a purpose, or, just for people who are like rather be more hands-on. But it's amazing, and I've had lots of clients have success with it. And of course, it's backed by Smart Credit, so they're a huge corporation. They're not gonna vouch for me if I'm not doing anything correctly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great software, and
it's like Smart Credit. We take your money.
No, we take your money. Yeah, My 800. We're affiliated with My 800. Who does? Yeah. Yeah, so it's a really good platform, and I'm working on translating it over to Spanish. The site is in English and Spanish, so it's gonna walk you through, but. That's what more I've been trying to work on this year, because the economy's changing, cost of living is high, inflation. So, you know, some people, like I was at one point, I didn't have even extra $20 a month. Like everything was just gone as soon as I earned it. So if I could have had a cheaper way to fix my credit versus paying all these other people that didn't help me, which is how I got into what I was doing, I would have just rather done that. I'd be like, wow, I hit a gold mine, you know. But it's something for everyone, so you have to keep up with the times, technology, and so you have to offer it. So I'm just trying to stay ahead of the curve, you know, and offer that to people who just want to do it themselves.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
From an entrepreneur standpoint, obviously, you know, you're like the true rags to riches story.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to somebody who's just getting started in that field?
I would say, you know what, be kind to yourself, because you're not going to know everything and do everything right. It doesn't matter if you have a dad that grandfathered you into real estate. There's just some things that you have to learn. The learning is in the doing, and you have to be very disciplined. Because for a while there, I did kind of slack a little bit. I'm like, oh, well, you know, I got my staff, and I'm going to, you know, party.
¿Te sentiste cómoda por un momento?
No, you can't. You can't. You know, I started hiring salespeople to talk to the clients, and no, you can never deviate to what got you to the money in the first place. Stick to the basics, and you're never going to lose. But create systems in place to allow you to do more of what got you that money, where it's meeting people, talking to clients, doing events. You can't do all of that and still be running your business. Either you're a business owner or you're a business operator.
Yeah.
You know, so you can't operate the business and own it. It's not the same. So you got to invest in yourself, you know, hire the good people. Marketing is important, you know, but the right channels that speak to the way you are, which is why I love your platform. I feel like it's very genuine, and it's about creating awareness, making Latinos empowered, but with all that sazon, you know, like all that flavor, all that sazon, that healthy Rican sazon. Yeah.
Shout out to Healthy Rican.
Shout out to Healthy Rican,
Turn around, make sure you get the spices out.
Yeah, you know, you have to have the message delivered into the way your people respond to it. So I feel like teaming up with people that are like-minded and really have believe and love what they do is important, versus just because somebody is like a famous artist or that doesn't matter, you know. Our people, like if I drove around in a Corvette or a Porsche with expense, you know, my clients would be like, está ganando ese dinero robando a la gente.
You know,
I feel like everybody who sees it, you got two different type of people. You're gonna have people who look at you and go like, oh,
I want that,
girl, getting that. And then you're gonna have the people who are sitting there like paying you, and maybe it's taking a little longer. They're like, coño, mira lo que está. Like, look at all that.
That's where my money's going.
She doesn't really care, but she got that car. Like, it's a tough balance.
Yeah, like obviously, you know, I want to make a profit to be able to support my kids and myself and my team.
You need a livelihood.
Yeah, but I love my team. They're very well taken care of. My kids, you know, my son has autism, so therapy's expensive. You know, my lifestyle is not cheap. So, and also, you know, I want to retire in 5 years. I've been working since I was 11 years old. I'm tired.
Girl.
But money does not motivate me, you know. It's helping people that's always motivated me since I was a kid. If I could do what I could do for free, and you know, milk didn't cost $10 a gallon, I would do it.
That's crazy. I mean, I think people need to understand that. I think, you know, you provide a service.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, in order to get from A for you got to be able to support what you got to do too, regardless of what that profit margin is and so forth. You know.
And that's why I started the nonprofit, just to be able to create channels where people can do that don't have the means, and we give that to the areas that most need it, and that way I can still get paid for what I do, but also put my money where my mouth is, and that giving spirit that I have, you know, put it to work, and hopefully continue that on when I retire and just focus on that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
We were talking about you being a scrapper.
I know. Yeah.
I know you saw that boxing match yesterday.
Yeah, that boxing match was pretty something else. You know, everybody was kind of going against Ryan Garcia. I think anytime someone who is African American is fighting a Latino, it's always a big thing, right? It's like black against brown. Oh my God! But it just
I mean, to be fair, Ryan isn't doing any favors to himself with the way he acts.
You know,
but
yeah,
he came out swinging.
Yeah, I think a lot of that, what he's doing is very smart because it's a marketing tactic. I mean, look at Muhammad Ali. When he was doing what he was doing is very unconventional at the time.
Yeah.
He talked a lot of shit and stuff. Mike Tyson would threaten people with rape against their children. Or rape your mama. And
you remember that shit? Mike Tyson would be like, he was like, my defense is impregnable. I'll eat your children.
Yeah, eat your children.
Oh my goodness.
No, it's just, yeah, Mike Tyson, I'll kick you out. Like, he was tough. He was tough to deal with.
Yeah, so he's doing the same thing, you know, but there's a lot of boxing casuals out there that don't know of any of that.
Yeah.
So it's just even Hector Macho Camacho, he would do stuff like that.
Yeah.
He would talk a lot of shit too, you know, the little curl and be like, you know, the lifestyle, and he was like the jerk everyone loved to watch. I mean, honestly, and the women loved him just like Ryan Garcia. So I think it's just marketing a lot of it, and also he proved his point yesterday. So. Shout out to
he
him.
did. Yeah,
I was actually going for Haney. I bet my daughter $50 and she won.
You don't think he could beat Tank though?
You know.
I mean, I know he lost to Tank, but I'm saying you don't think on the rematch, like this Ryan Garcia, maybe this crazy ass Ryan Garcia, you think he can or can't?
Yeah, I think in boxing anything is possible. You know, my favorite movie of all time is Rocky, like all of them. So I think anything is possible, and you never know. And sometimes the underdog wins. Like best heavyweight fight of all time, in my opinion. Well, for Mexicans, is Andy Ruiz versus Anthony Joshua.
Oof.
No one expected him to win, and he kicked that motherfucker's ass. Like, and he's like a short Mexican who's not in shape, big belly, you know, but he went in there and he proved a point. So it just depends, you know. I think it's possible. Anything is possible.
That's a crazy match because he got knocked down on that one too, and then came back up.
Yeah, he got knocked down twice, I believe. Knocked down Joshua, and Joshua just couldn't recuperate after that. But so yeah, I think anything is possible. As a boxing analyst and strategist, ladies and gentlemen, anything is possible.
See, we're not just talking credit repair.
No, we're not. Yeah.
We got into boxing, so now we're going into the ESPN version of the show. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, for those of you who were thinking that was not a planned plug,
it wasn't.
It just happened to, you know, it's almost this sazón. So,
yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
She ends up
I'm taking a bunch of those home, by the way.
We've
used them. We've used them. You know, and I know that one of the things we do here is we support, you know, especially small businesses.
Absolutely.
And, you know,
my sister-in-law's from Carolina, so I'm gonna give her some of those.
Oh, you got it, yeah.
Yeah.
You can take these when you want. Well, actually,
remember I was telling you her grandmother is 106 years old.
Oh my God, bless her heart.
Beautiful lady. She's like bien viva, like talking, like it's amazing.
Well, Maida's in the next edition of the magazine with Ida Rodriguez on the cover. So
awesome!
Definitely, you can get the product.
Check them out, guys.
Get the product from there. All right. So if people wanted to start fixing their credit, where would they go to do that?
They would go to VitaCreditQueen.com, Vita Credit Queen on Instagram, Facebook. I'm not on TikTok, but there's a lot of fake accounts on TikTok. No, I don't. No, I don't dance.
Every time I tell somebody TikTok, it's like, you don't dance? And they're like, that's not all you do on TikTok.
That's not all it's for.
I'm like, well, that's what it was for. That's what it started.
Everybody was started.
Yeah.
All the parents during the COVID times, all the abuelitos and abuelitas.
I just can't hop on that bandwagon. I gotta stay true to myself.
Yeah.
I can't.
I can't.
Yeah, it's like, I'm gonna try to keep something real, you know?
Yeah.
They've already got enough earthquakes in LA. They don't want me dancing on TikTok.
Yeah, and then of course my 800 is my-800.com. But yeah, you guys, if you need any help, if you want questions, if you want to just get some credit tips. I mean, I've had people like raise up their score 100 points just from watching videos that I do. So all of it is factual information, and I'm just putting it out there. And some people are like, why do you give away so much information? That's stupid. I'm like, stay in your lane, you know, like.
Like, what does it matter?
Yeah, the game is not always.
I feel
if you know what you know.
I feel like we have such an issue in our community with gatekeeping.
Yes,
I hate that.
We have the ability to.
Como like, where'd you get that sweater? Oh.
Yeah, like I don't even tell. Like, just tell me where you got the damn sweater.
Maya Angelou says,
anyways.
if you know, teach. That's what it is. That's what I practice. If you know, teach.
Yeah, if you know, teach. Each one teach. Each one teach one, I guess.
I mean, I don't know what the actual quote is, but
I thought you would.
I was just following what you were saying there. We just create our own quote if it's not the actual one.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, I'm a big believer in that. I think you know if we're improving the community, you know, like you said, not everything is about money. Sometimes it's just about helping people and making sure that they can move into the right direction.
Absolutely, yeah. Because when you teach someone something, they're going to remember you for a long time. Like, oh, where did I hear that from? I heard it from, you know, Rafael. Yeah, so it's
sometimes that's the best marketing.
Absolutely, yeah. So I do it just because it's free information, but you want to give out the right information. And not everybody's going to understand just reading it on Google, you know. Sometimes you need somebody to just
creating generational wealth is something that's really important, especially in the Latino community.
Absolutely.
And if we're not helping our brothers and sisters out to be able to kind of excel in that area, that's something that, you know, we're doing a disservice to our own people.
Yeah, and honestly, I think generations are changing that. I think the younger generation are more helpful towards each other, even though I think a lot of the older generation, like, mira tan bien mensos, like, I don't think they are. I think the younger generation is really going to change things a lot in ways that maybe we couldn't, or we couldn't really visualize, maybe because of technology. They're very inclusive. They're more forgiving. Like, nowadays, if you tell somebody, oh, you're ugly or you're just stupid, they're going to be like, actually, this is my own personal style. But before, you'd be like, I don't want to go to school.
I don't want to go to school anymore. It's like,
who's really the weakest, huh? Like, you know, we would let so many things just get to us. But yeah, I think they're going to change it a lot. Like, my kids are watching me have a business, be a mom, be an ex-felon, helping people all the time. Because sometimes I cry. I'm like, I'm done with talking to a client. I'm like, chingo. Like, it's emotional, you know? Because the guy's like, I finally got my house, man. I'm the first one in my family.
That's got to be the most rewarding feeling on earth.
It is. I had a lady write me an email. It was long. She was like, because of you, and you kept pushing us, she's like, we're the first people in both of our families to own a house.
Oh my God, I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah, she's like, and our kids.
God. Yeah,
she's like, my son was like 5 or 6 years old. He's like, are we ever going to get a house? She's like, yeah. And she's like, finally he turned 10. He's growing up. She's like, I want him to have his own room. She's like, and we finally got it. So her and her husband took a picture. Man, I was just like crying. So I always send those to my team. I'm like, look, you know, she's like, you have a great team. Thank you for not getting mad at me when I ask you something. I'm like, it's fine. But that's why. And it really changes someone's life. Like, I never thought I would be changing someone's life for the better. When before in my life, I was causing lots of destruction without taking accountability for it. So it's not like I want atonement, but it's just landed in my lap, and I feel like God doesn't make mistakes. So
now the reversal's taking place where your action is now leading to somebody else's positive
life. For not only themselves, their kids, their parents. Like, sometimes, like, people are they got to take care of their parents now, and they don't have enough room. They got to get a bigger house. They need to refinance, and so, you know, it's really rewarding. Or when, you know, this landscaper where I live, he wanted to get his son a truck because he got a full ride to MIT, smart kid. And he was in Guatemala, and he was scared that he was going to get in trouble at the dealership because they didn't ask him for his bank statements or his checks. So I was like, sir, you have an 803 credit score. He's like, ay, gracias, señorita Vita. But he was like, he took a whole folder, you know. He's like, no lo quiere. And I was like, you have a perfect credit score. Pick that motherfucker out. He was like, thank you. But that's all he wanted to do, just get his son the truck of his dreams, because he didn't have to pay a cent for his college. Amazing, you know?
Super. Those are the stories that we have.
Yeah, so whenever I get overwhelmed or I'm doubting myself, like imposter syndrome, I think about all those people. They're like, no, Vita, you're helping a lot of us, you know, and things. So you can't make everyone happy. There's going to be clients that are lazy, that are saying, oh, you didn't tell me that, this and that. But you can't help everybody. You can't do anything perfect, but I would say a good 95% of my clients always get what
customer satisfaction.
They meet that goal, and then they're able to meet other goals. You know, start a business, do this, do that, help their kids build their credit, or teach their kids, you know, how to get a credit card, how to pay it, because they didn't know before. Yeah. And so I can say because for my own self, you know, my daughter now, she knows all about it. But before, when I came home, I didn't know anything about it. So now we both have learned throughout these years about it. So it's
very cool.
Yeah.
I'm really excited that you came in.
Me too. I was ready to come. Yeah, I wasn't going to miss it.
Well, we look forward to seeing Revolucion.
That was the next thing I was going to say. So
I can't wait to see everybody at Revolucion. Oh, yes. Everybody, don't miss out. It's going to be September in Downey, California. I can't wait to attend.
She's our own plug. I
love her.
And she's going to be doing the Blue to Green. Yeah. And that's for people who want to help their businesses, you know, step it to the next level. So we're really excited about that because that's going to be a really good seminar.
Absolutely,
to have on there.
I can't wait to be a part of it. Hopefully we can do something in Houston. And
one day.
Yeah, one day we will. I always tell my daughter, we will. Not one day.
So
we will.
We take one step, and then the next step after that is the next
right.
one, and the next one, and the next one. Then the next thing you know, we're international.
Yeah.
Revolución in London.
You never know.
Hey, he's putting it out there, yeah.
There's a lot of Latinos
There is
out
not
there
a
now.
thing that I have manifested on this. She knows.
Yeah.
There has not been one thing that I have manifested on this that has not come true.
I believe in manifestation.
Putting it out there.
It's the power that God gives us.
No, he puts the work. He put in the work. He put in the work. Yes.
When it starts taking like 2 to 3 or 5 business days for somebody to reply to you, it's because they're busy. It's not because they're ignoring you. My daughter's like, "Dude, you didn't get my message." I'm like, "Mommy, I'm working,
it's
Mommy."
Not that, yeah.
But okay, a ver qué necesitas.
Yeah, my mom she pissed off too.
Yeah, and I think our paths crossed for a reason. So I'm super blessed to have met you guys.
Vita, welcome for you're part of the family of Todo Latino.
Oh yeah, awesome. Saludos.
All right, that was a lot of fun.
It was.
We even get a little boxing in there.
Yeah, we sure did.
So you can catch her, by the way, in January's edition of the Todo Wafi magazine. Mm-hmm. If you go on todowafi.com, you can see that magazine. But yeah, really excited. It was great to finally meet you in person because we've been connecting online.
Yeah. It's nothing like that face to face, like I was saying.
It's true.
For real.
It's true.
Face to face.
Now we gotta turn around and go to a boxing match together so we can just.
We gotta go get
screaming.
some tacos or something.
Yeah, right. I agree.
So, is there any Puerto Rican places out here we could go?
You don't want to go to the Puerto Ricans out here in LA. So
okay.
I know one guy, but he's he cooks on Saturdays.
Oh yeah.
Don't go to Mofongos, by the way.
Those are the best places. Don't go to Mofongos.
We say it
You're gonna have to edit this out.
No.
He don't like
until he
doesn't
fixes
like
his shit. We're gonna keep saying don't go to Mofongos.
Don't be sorry because that's how I am with like tamales and tacos. They're like these tacos are amazing. I'm like.
No, if they're bad, they're bad.
They're bad. I'm sorry.
I don't promote somebody who sucks at what he does. Anyways, everybody, that is our show. Be sure to follow us at the Todo Latino Show and Todo Wafi and all of your favorite listening apps. I am Rafael. That is Joey. Joining us was Vita, and we are out.